The hot topic right now in Lagos is the demolition of many homes being carried out by the Lagos state government. The government claimed that these homes block the right of waterways, and without the demolition of these homes, Lagos state is going to be flooded, especially in this coming rainy season. Government agencies continue to distribute notices, especially houses around canal area, notices of demolition. The one that really caused an uproar is the one carried out by the government in Medellin, Maryland area. That is Medellin Villa Estate.
The vehicles everywhere. Parking. 2 hours. 2 good hours.
Yes, since government carried out the demolition of many homes, especially around the Ikota, Lagos, the government has always, claimed that this has never had any building permit. But that of the Medellin, the developers and many residents produce building permit duly authorized by the Lagos state government 15 years ago. So it was shocking to many that the government couldn't accept responsibility. The government couldn't accept responsibility that the previous administrations before them, the government authorized the building permit of this estate. So why go there to demolish their house? The worst of all, giving people 2 hours notice of demolition. How will the government go there, withdraw the permit without accepting responsibility, pay compensation to the developers or the residents in that area? No, can anyone just imagine what is going on in Nigeria, my country? Government give people building permits, they built there, right? Now you give them notice of 2 hours. You went there and brought down their building. Number one, you didn't organize any form of arrangement to help this human, because in Nigeria everybody must own house. Some of these people is their life saving that they save for many years that they use in building these places. Now you went there, you brought it down, no form of compensation, no form of where to relocate there for some time before you sort. Can you imagine the country we are living in? So many Lagosians are in total dismay. Many are confused. They don't understand why the Lagos state government choose to do this act of wickedness at this time, considering the fact, everyone knowing the hardship, the serious hardship that is telling on everyone in the country currently, whether rich or small, big or small, rich or poor. And you are doing this to your citizens, you don't care what happened to them. Many of those residents here are retirees. Many of these guys, they pour all their life, like I said, all their life savings. Now, as it stands, they don't have where to go. What the government, I'm tired. Anyways, the shenanigans of Lagos state government, this current administration, has led to many saying that people should invest in landed property in Lagos at their own risk because the government can't be trusted. Many right now even compare Lagos with Warri. That is exactly what Rhodes-vivour, the Labour Party governorship aspirant, discussed in an airspace hosted by one of the media organizations like that. I would like you to take a listen.
I don't want to see Lagos become like Warri or Delta State. The history of what happened when people started being hostile to investors and people that came from outside that were developing Delta State, Warri. Everybody just pulled back, right? And they've been struggling since. So I don't want to see that happen in Lagos. But also, I don't even think it's something that you need to campaign. Even me, if I was going to buy a flat for investment or buy a house for investment, I've calmed down. No, I'd rather hold on to my money because you are still a government that is complicit. The government is complicit in a house being built that they call illegal, and then they come and destroy that building without any consequences on their own complicity. They're not even acknowledging that they are part of the criminal enterprise if they are calling this building illegal, right? And that is a very big problem for me. It was in the news that they're talking about how most of the buildings in Bejuleki don't have permits. I'm talking about an entire estate. So if you've built a building before, you'll know that you first publish all the things that you need to even get planning permission. Then the process, right? For your foundation, the government sends representatives to your site. At decking, they send representatives to your site to check and make sure that you are following planning permission. So if a building was able to get to roof level, that means it was done with the approval of the government or their representatives. So they were either negligent, or they were corrupt, or they gave out illegal planning permissions, but they were part and parcel of that process. So for me, I feel that right now in Lagos, this is the time to be wary about investing in buildings, because first of all, there is no grand plan that is public knowledge. More, they're talking about waterways and canals flowing, right? And they're destroying buildings that they claim are on the right of way. Then the very next day, which was today or 2 days ago, I saw that Lagos City is talking about how they're going to sandfill several more islands, right? Anytime an island or sandfilling happens, water is displaced that starts to flood indigenous communities and communities all across the state, because water must go somewhere. So what is the environmental impact assessment that has been done? What solutions have been done to the Okwe Alpha communities or even parts of Ikorodu that are flooding because of Ikko Atlantic, right? You have a situation where most of this sandfilling that happens, because it's such an expensive process, the buildings that are on there really are for the wealthy and people that can afford to pay those kind of high rents, which are the minority of Lagos, right? Because you find that, I was saying today, that 75 to 80% of Lagosians don't earn up to 1.2 million naira in a year. So if the government is actually very serious about housing, right, then they should do targeted housing that is financially accessible to the majority of people that live in Lagos. It's not just your friend wants to sandfill, he knows the governor, so he is okay for him to sandfill. You don't care that Ilubirin is stopping the drainage of water coming out of Lagos Island, right? But then you're going to go and destroy somebody's house whose defense, is parallel to a lagoon or a right of way that you should have channeled over 20 years ago, but you're just trying to get around to channeling now, right? So, but when it comes down to the actual act of the demolition, I feel that more than anything, if the government can acknowledge that it is complicit in this problem, then their approach must be different. Their approach must be one that says, okay, we've messed up, we know we've messed up, but this thing we're trying to do is in the larger interest of our vision for Lagos, which is create a flood-free or flood-resistant state. Okay, we acknowledge that. We acknowledge that we're part and parcel of this building getting up to the roof, either directly or indirectly. We acknowledge that. So, the way we engage you is going to be one, a robust transition system, whether it's having housing units or apartments that people can stay in for a couple of months before they get on their feet again, having a psychologist and a whole medical personnel that come to talk you through this and literally hold your hand through this process, because there are people that have collapsed, there are people that have gotten strokes. I've heard so many stories. I've met people that told me, this my neighbor has died though because of this thing. They literally saw their entire life savings just go down in a country where there is no mortgage, in a country where there is no insurance, in a country where you have to gather all this money to pay for this house. Where are they going to do that from again? And Nigerians have this notion that you must own your house. Like you have not really made it in life if you are not the owner of your house. So they go to great lengths to be able to achieve that. You have a lot of these people that have retired. So where are they going to start from again to start picking themselves up? So there must be that robust psychological health part of it that's going to monitor you, make sure, you know, they walk you through this and check on you, right? And then they also come with like a moving van, people that will help them park out of the building. So you create a process that shows that, you know, I recognize your distress. I recognize that this thing is really messed up for you. So because we have designed this thing to minimize the amount of damage and destruction we need to do, and we design it efficiently, let us now transition you guys, at least in 3 months' time. Let's see how we can get you back on your feet, and also talk about compensation as well, right? So I feel that it has to be a lot more humane. You know, even as little things as having, I mean, there are many buildings that are, even public buildings that are not in use. There's no harm if the government converted temporarily to storage space. Because as you're moving people out, a lot of people don't have places to put their things. They literally are starting afresh again. So is there a temporary place where they can keep their things as owned by the government, because the government recognizes that they have a responsibility to these people, right? Because whether you like it or not, you have instances where the government has been collecting ground rents and tenement rents from these people, land use charge. And you find that these people also paid some government or some official for, whether it's a global COO, a deed of assignment, some kind of documentation. Nobody goes to go and build a whole house in this Lagos state, right? Without any form of paperwork, whether they were scammed, whether somebody scammed them, that also should be for the government to reflect on the process of planning approvals and process of oversight on the entire process of getting the built environment to fit with their own plan, and that plan will be made public. It's not okay for you to say, oh, my friends can sandfill in this area, or government can sandfill in this area, or government can rent property in buildings that are directly sitting on a canal and contravening the plan. But then you might not be able to fight the government, you are the one that your house is going to be destroyed. That's not okay, you know. And the government must take that responsibility and act with a lot more empathy. I think that's my position on demolitions and